Joining us now, comedian Carlos Mencia. Carlos was born in Honduras, raised in East L.A., became a naturalized U.S. citizen last year. And Sheriff Joe ARPAIO, Sheriff ARPAIO of Maricopa County, Arizona. He returns to our cameras. He's been called the toughest sheriff in America. All right, Carlos, what's your serious problem with this law?
Well, first of all, I am not carpooling in Arizona. I'll tell you that right now. Well, the basic problem with the law is, and here's the way I see it. I'm not defending illegal aliens. I'm defending Americans. I think that if you pull over Americans like myself because I happen to be speaking Spanish in my car, or because I happen to have 10 family members who look like me in my car, that's a violation of civil rights. And I completely understand why officers like this law, because, of course, it makes it easier for them to do their job. But it would be easy to just ask black kids, hey, you know what, show me your drugs because you're wearing sagging pants. It would be easy to, you know, put everybody who's white between the ages of 18 and 50, you know, hey, we've got serial killers on the loose, you fit the profile. It would be easy to profile everybody, but this isn't right.
Let's say it's midnight, Sheriff. 6 Mexican-Americans are driving in a car through a street in your city. Are they stopped?
Well, we're doing our crime suppression operation. You can see me being out in this windy weather. But in 2 hours, we have stopped 4 vehicles for human smuggling, arrested 36 people for violating that law that are here illegally. So we have the reason to do that. We have the probable cause. We've done 2,000, and the courts have upheld every one of those cases. So we're not out there grabbing people on a street corner because they look like they're from another country. We do it pursuant to our normal operations.
Carlos, what's wrong with it, bluntly put, being asked? As long as you're okay, so you're asked, are you a citizen? You prove it, so what?
It's that this is what we used to make fun of back in the days of Russia. We fought a Cold War because of this. We used to make jokes about, you know, show me your papers. That's just not the country that we as Americans have ever wanted to live in. We live in a country that's based more on keeping people out of jail than putting innocent people in jail. And if they arrest illegal immigrants, I don't have a problem with that. My problem is when they ask me for papers, when they ask me what I'm doing. You know, what if I'm there for Cinco de Mayo and I happen to be wearing the hat and the maracas, just celebrating that moment, and I get asked to show my papers as an American? That's just not why I became an American, and I think that's un-American.
Sheriff, who is stopped? Give me a prototype of who do you stop?
Well, you know, let me say this about the identification. We ask everybody for their ID, their driver's license in the course of our duties. Nothing unusual about that. We ask them, you know, where were you born, your date of birth. So this happens every day in law enforcement. Now, on these cases, we just made 2 hours ago.
Passes a red light, but what, do you stop people just indiscriminately?
No, we do not do that. We don't take people off the street corners and go into residences and businesses. We don't do that. We have a state charge first, and then we develop it to see if the people are here illegally.
So, Carlos, how's that different from any other lawbreaker or potential lawbreaker?
Well, if they ask me for my ID, which, by the way, there have been times where I forgot my wallet at home, they just write me a ticket for driving without the driver's license.
Right.
But they don't ask me to prove that I'm an American. And we're talking about now, you know, getting pulled over or committing a crime. That's fine. But that's not what the law says. The law basically states that in any legal encounter, so I might, you know, be somewhere where the cops are and they can ask me. It's any legal encounter. It doesn't necessarily mean that a criminal act has to be committed when this occurs. The officers can, during a legal encounter, do this. Now, if they don't, that's one thing, but the law allows them to, and the law allows them to do it on the suspicion. Now, I would be better off with the law if it said, hey, look, if you're wearing pointy boots and a hat and 2 tacos and a maraca, we think you're an illegal. At least that would be specific. But this law, it actually brings into account a human being's prejudices, what they bring to the table, what they grew up with, what they think is an illegal. So here's what I'm saying. If you have a guy that's Mexican-looking, Latino-looking, and he's wearing a hat and pointy boots and a thick belt, that guy might look illegal. But you put that same attire on a white guy, and he's a redneck, and you're not going to ask him for his papers.
I'm going to have the sheriff.
That is what's wrong with the law.
We'll have the sheriff comment on that when we come back. And by the way, still ahead, former attorney, I'll have you respond in a minute, Sheriff. We're back. Sheriff ARPAIO, doesn't this put a lot of burden on the police officer?
No, they're well trained. They know how to enforce all the laws. I don't think it does. Just another law to enforce. Here in this new law just gives a little extra tool, especially to my guys that have been enforcing the federal and state illegal immigration laws for 3 years. Now, if you come across someone here illegally, you now have the authority to arrest that person on a misdemeanor charge and book them into the jail versus turning them over to the U.S. government.
And that's better law enforcement, in your opinion, than turning them over?
Yeah. If they violate the law, they should go to jail. That's going to be my policy when the law takes effect. We have 38,000 people we've investigated, arrested, or detained in our jails. 38,000 that are here illegally. Right now, I'm in this area. We have 100 people in jail right now charged with murder that are here illegally. So you do have crime associated with the illegal aliens coming into our country.
When does the law take effect, Sheriff?
It takes effect about 90 days from probably today.
All right, Carlos, how do you respond to that?
Well, you know, that's first of all, the police chief from earlier said that this law really doesn't change anything. If it doesn't change anything, then why the law in the first place? Look, as I said before, oh, well, then if it does change, then he misspoke. But what I'm saying is, look, if you're going to arrest illegal, okay, if you're going to arrest illegal aliens, I don't have a problem with that. I don't have a problem with you doing whatever you need to do to clean up your state. I'm not there. You know, I have a brother who lives there. He tells me about the violence. He tells me about violence by illegal immigrants. I get all that. I just don't want you to trample on my rights or any American rights to do so. I know it makes it easier, but that's not cool.
Carlos, how do you know someone is an illegal alien unless you investigate?
Well, there are already laws in the books to do this. And for me, this is the biggest problem, not with this bill, but with America in general, is we as Americans are employing these illegal immigrants. If we didn't give them jobs, they wouldn't be here. This problem isn't really an illegal immigrant problem. It's really an American problem. We're giving these people work. You know why they don't have an illegal immigration problem in El Salvador, even though it's bordering Mexico? Because Mexicans aren't going to El Salvador, because there's no work there. If there was no work here, they wouldn't be here. We're giving them work. We're doing that, and this is an us problem. I think we need to fix this problem from our perspective.
Well, you know, first of all, Carlos, they violated a law crossing the border, coming into this area. We go into businesses, and all the illegals, the majority are there working, but they have phony identification, which is another violation of the law. So we enforce the laws. They're taking up jobs, by the way, Carlos. We have an economic problem here. People would do anything to get a job, and yet we're giving these jobs to people that are here illegally, and that's not right. That's not right.
I
Come
agree.
Here legally.
Hold on, guys.
Come here legally.
I agree, but when you said we, those are people who are committing a crime as well. People are not supposed to employ illegal immigrants or people that don't have papers.
They
should be targeted more than anybody else.
Carlos
Because at least we do that.
Sheriff Joe ARPAIO. All right, you'll be on again, you guys. Got to move on to other guests. How does the new law look from downtown L.A.? We're going to go live to Olvera Street and find out next.